Hi, my name is Vyacheslav Bulanikov.
Привет, меня зовут Сергей Волков.
Hi, my name is Sergei Volkov, and I create and test flight models for planes. My name is Kirill Yudintsev. We're about to answer some questions from players which we collected on the official game forums and on social networks. Vehicle BR calculation seems to be a closely guarded secret. There's no information about this statistic anywhere. How is BP assigned to one vehicle or another, and what does it depend on, and why can it be changed? Battle rating depends on the average lifespan of a vehicle and its kill-to-death ratio, i.e., the vehicle's efficiency on the battlefield. It doesn't follow to think that vehicles with a higher battle rating are more effective or live longer on the battlefield, though. The repair cost and bonus to reward are also considered, which also depend on these characteristics, and together they have to be a harmonious whole. Battle rating is the basic characteristic that the matchmaker depends on. Matchmaking doesn't take place between two vehicle models. It takes place between a number of players. To rely on two vehicles with an identical battle rating being equal would be a fundamental error. After all, a fighter and a bomber can't be equal in duels. You just can't compare the two. So, battle rating is a characteristic which is designed to create more balanced battles. It's clear that opportunities for balancing are limited to a certain extent, since if there are only players in the queue using one type of vehicle, then the battle can only include them. But nonetheless, battle rating is the average efficiency of this vehicle. Not its average efficiency against something else specifically, but its average efficiency in all battles. We want bigger battles. Are you considering expanding the number of players in a single battle, which you didn't do before since the standard number was enough for the separate game mode? At least 20 versus 20. For random battles, the current number of players, 16 versus 16, more than 16 players, makes the game less fun. The battle is too chaotic and too little depends on you. You don't feel like you're able to affect the course of the fight. For squadron battles, a higher number of players is possible, but for random battles, 16 versus 16 is a good limit. Flight model completion is always a hot topic. Would you like to share some thoughts about the way they are introduced and what effect does ongoing development have on already completed models? Reviewing and debugging airplane flight models is virtually an infinite process, since we regularly find either documents or eyewitness testimonies, pilots who flew them or pilots who fly vintage planes now. Accordingly, we edit certain data and will keep editing it until we get as accurate a model as possible of any given airplane. For example, we didn't have precise information for how the Friedrichs engine operates when using the afterburner. We obtained that information recently and made some corrections. How the Thunderbolt's turbine works, we've modeled that now, and in large patches to come, we'll be releasing a pretty accurate model of this plane's maneuvering. It's gonna be really cool. Basically, it all depends on the availability of reference information. The more we have, the more accurate the model. To add to all that, we're constantly updating, perfecting, and complicating our physics model, which calculates these effects. This can also cause the characteristics of planes to change, after which we correct them accordingly. This isn't a fast process. With this, you'll just have to be patient. We're listening to the players and trying to react to their messages when something is not right somewhere. Do you plan to fully tune premium vehicles before they become available for sale? The main reason players hesitate to buy a premium tank now is that the mode is just beginning to develop, and changes in battle characteristics and the rank, BR, and level of the vehicle they choose could be very significant. All the changes we're currently implementing with premium vehicles are bug fixes or balancing in battle levels and economy. We're not guaranteed against the first, since there's a lot of data involved and mistakes are possible, but we'll always correct them. As for changes in battle rating and battle levels, such changes happen constantly and many factors influence them. including the introduction of new vehicles to the same battle level the vehicle participates in, changes to the player's favor, and so on and so forth. We'll be making those kinds of changes constantly. Considering the Su-122's presence in the game, can we expect such SPGs as the Wespe, Grille, Hummel, Priest, and so on? The SPGs you're referring to belong to another class of vehicle. They're not assault weapons, but self-propelled howitzers, artillery, i.e., they have no shell-proof armor. So, while it's possible they may appear sometimes, equivalents to the Su-122 are other types of vehicles, such as the Stuch, Sturmpanzer, Brummbär, and so on. From the American side, an equivalent would be the Sherman with a 105mm howitzer, for example. These are tanks and self-propelled guns with shell-proof armor. The vehicles listed above, perhaps, will come later too, but our first priority is assault vehicles. It's not uncommon that when a player has practically killed an enemy plane, destroyed a wing or both wings, or the tail unit, etc., another player lands a few hits on the enemy plane's falling remains, and the enemy craft is considered to have been destroyed by the second pilot. How does the Frag calculation system work? Recently, we implemented a change to credit a downed plane to the player that caused any damage incompatible with airfield repairs, i.e., if you shoot off a tail or destroy both wings, the plane will be considered destroyed, because it can't be repaired at the airfield. Previously, this wasn't the case. It used to be considered that any critical hit, such as a torn-off wing, meant that you got the kill, but your opponent could land, repair, and in such a way he could be killed twice. Now you can't kill someone twice. When you get a kill, your opponent can't repair and won't be able to launch again. There is very little information about the development of the Squadron battles and the World War mode. Do you have anything to share, or is this not a priority at the moment? We have several working concepts, but work on them is delayed until we complete the development of air versus land mixed battles. We will do everything we plan to do and finish our tests and checks. Squadron battles are being actively developed, and we'll soon be trying out a new format for them and testing them further. Unfortunately, we can't speed this one up because we need to carry out lots of battles between squadrons to work out the general feeling of the format and its structure, so we're unlikely to be able to move faster on this one. We think there's a clear imbalance in favor of Soviet vehicles in ground forces rank 5. How are you planning to change the situation with top German vehicles? Our statistics for rank 5 battles are relatively sparse. There are far fewer battles in that rank than in the others. We don't have enough information yet to say categorically that there's an imbalance and that we need to fix it as soon as possible. A possible solution would be the introduction of designer, so-called paper tanks for Germany, such as the E-Series tanks, the E-50 and the E-75.